Hello students of 7th standard, this is Saraswati Guidance and today we are going to see a video presentation on history standard 7th, and from that history we are going to learn chapter 2nd, India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. First of all, we are going to see early famous dynasties from India. Do you know what a dynasty is? A dynasty means the family of kings and queens, okay? Where the son of a king comes to the throne after his father dies. Then his son or daughter comes to the throne after he dies. So the family of kings and queens who rule an area is called a dynasty, okay? So in India, there were some famous dynasties who ruled certain parts of India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. We are going to see some dynasties like these. The first dynasty is from Bengal of today, West Bengal, and it ruled in that part in ancient India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Then comes two dynasties, the Gurjars and the Pratihars. Okay, they were spread all over in India. For example, they were in Maharashtra, they were in Gujarat, they were in Andhra Pradesh, they were also in Bihar, as you can see on the screen. Now, the last is the famous Rajputs. Okay, they rule in Rajasthan, and some of the famous dynasties from the Rajput dynasty are Gadwal dynasty, then Parmar dynasty, and the Chauhans. Interestingly, the name Chauhan was not pronounced as Chauhan at that time. It was pronounced as Chahmans. Afterwards, it became Chauhan. Do you know the name of this famous king from the Rajput dynasty? From the Chauhan dynasty, actually. This is Prithviraj Chauhan, and he had to fight Muhammad Ghori, who came from outside of India, who was attracted towards the wealth of India, who came here to loot the wealth of India, but he had to face Prithviraj Chauhan, who successfully defeated him at the Battle of Tarai for the first time. Unfortunately, Prithviraj Chauhan lost the second Battle of Tarai with Muhammad Ghori. The next dynasty from before the times of Shivaji Maharaj is the Cholas. You can see on the screen on the left hand side uh, the south part of Asia. I'm sure you know what Asia is. Asia is a continent just like European continent, the South American continent, the North American continent, European continent, just like that. Uh, this is the Asian continent. This is the south part of the Asian continent. Okay, what you are going to see here is the spread of the Chola dynasty. The area which is marked in blue color, it is the spread of the Chola dynasty, and the area which is marked in pink color, uh, it marks the influence of the Chola dynasty. What is the influence of Chola dynasty? It means that in the area which is marked in pink color, that area respected the spread and the power of the Chola dynasty. If you see on your left, I have given you the map of world, and you can locate India very easily. It is marked in green color, okay? And if you want to see exactly how far the influence of the Cholas was spread at that time, we can take a look at this line. You see, this entire area was influenced by the Chola dynasty at that time. Then comes the Rashtrakoot. The Rashtrakoot dynasty was based in Maharashtra and they were spread from Kannauj to Rameshwaram. You can see the spread of their kingdom in the map given on the left. Kannauj is in present day UP, I think, and it was spread up to Rameshwaram, which is in Tamil Nadu today. Okay. Then comes the Shilahar dynasty. Shilahar dynasty was also based in Maharashtra and they were spread in the area of Konkan today and Kolhapur, Satara, and Sangli. On your left, you can see that area Konkan, Satara, and Sangli. Let's magnify this area. Let's make this area a little bigger to see what areas were influenced by the Shilahar dynasty. And you can see the present day Virar, Thane, Mumbai, as well as Sangli and Kolhapur. Okay. Then comes the Yadav family. The Yadavs were also based in Maharashtra and their capital place was at Daulatabad fort of Aurangabad. The Daulatabad fort even exists today and it was the last empire before Shivaji Maharaj's time. You see the red dot flashing on your screen? That is where Aurangabad is and that's where the capital place of the Yadav dynasty was. The next point in your lesson, India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj, is invasion from northwest. During these dynasties, which we have just seen, India was invaded from the northwest direction of India. What is invasion? Invasion means attack. So, India was attacked at that time from the northwest side of India. Do you know what is the northwest side of India? See, this is the north side, this is the west side. So, northwest side must come between these two sides, right here. So, India at that time was invaded from this side. Muhammad bin Qasim was the first invader who invaded India and defeated Raja Dahir. And after Muhammad bin Qasim, Turks from Turkestan, Afghans from the Afghanistan, and Mughals came to India. After that, Muhammad of Ghazni invaded India and he invaded India many times and he plundered the rich temples of Mathura, Kannauj, Vrindavan, and Somnath. Plundered means looted. He looted the wealth of these rich temples of the time. Now we come to an interesting part, New Delhi. This became the capital place of the invading new sultans. And after Muhammad Ghori, you can see on your screen the following sultan took his place. After Muhammad Ghori came Qutbuddin Aibak. Then after Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish came to the throne. After him, Alauddin Khalji came to the throne. After him, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firuz Tughlaq then ruled, and lastly Ibrahim Lodi came to the power. Here the history of these invaders takes a new turn. Ibrahim Lodi's governor of Punjab was named as Daulat Khan Lodi, but his relationship with Ibrahim Lodi was not good. Actually, he wanted to defeat Ibrahim Lodi. So what he did, Daulat Khan Lodi, he invited another king whose name was Babur, and he was an Uzbek king from a region in Uzbekistan today. Here you can see on the map of India where Uzbekistan is. So what Daulat Khan Lodi did was he invited Babur from Uzbekistan, and with the help of Babur he defeated Ibrahim Khan Lodi. Okay, after Ibrahim Lodi, Babur became the ruler of those parts which were conquered by the invaders. And then Babur laid the foundation of the Mughal Sultanate or the Mughal Empire. Okay, Vijayanagar Empire. Remember what we are seeing. We are seeing those kingdoms and empire which existed before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Vijayanagar Empire is one of them. Okay, Vijayanagar Empire was formed by two brothers whose names were Harihar and Bukka. Harihara Rai and Bukka Rai. Okay, and their capital was at Hampi in today's Karnataka. When after Ibrahim Lodi, various knights who were working for Ibrahim Lodi, they started to battle amongst themselves. Harihar and Bukka took advantage of the situation and created a kingdom of their own. And this kingdom was formed in Hampi. After Harihar and Bukka, Krishnadev Rai became the king of the empire of Vijayanagar. But Krishnadev Rai had to fight different kingdoms uh, which surrounded his kingdom. Those kingdoms were the Adil Shahi, Nizam Shahi, and Qutub Shahi, as well as Barid Shahi. Okay, so Krishnadev Rai had to fight all these four kingdoms: Adil Shahi, Nizam Shahi, Qutub Shahi, and Barid Shahi. But he was later on defeated, and Hassan Gangu formed the Bahmani Empire or the Bahmani Sultanate at the place of uh, the kingdom of Vijayanagar Empire. Okay, let's learn something about Bahmani Sultanate or the Bahmani Empire. Mahmud Gawa, he was the Wazir of the Bahmani kingdom, and he brought many reforms in the administration. He started giving cash salaries to the soldiers instead of giving lands to them, and he brought many such reforms to the administration. What is the meaning of reforms? A reform means improvements. So he improved the administration of the Bahmani Empire. And after his death, although the Bahmani Empire or the Bahmani kingdom started to break up, and it broke into five smaller powers. These were the smaller powers: Adil Shahi, Nidam Shahi, Qutub Shahi, and Barid Shahi. Then we come to the Mughals. We know that Ibrahim Lodi, who was ruling Delhi at that time, did not have good relationship with his Punjab governor Daulat Khan Lodi. So he brought uh, Babur from Uzbekistan, made friendship with him, and Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi. And after Babur, the Mughal Sultanate started. Babur was the founder of the Mughal power, and he was the king of Fargana area in Uzbekistan. Let's see where it is. If you see where India is, here is India, and here is Uzbekistan. So Babur came all the way from Uzbekistan over here. After Babur, Humayun came to the throne of the Mughal Sultanate, then Sher Shah Suri, after him Akbar, and then his son Jahangir, and then Jahangir's son Shah Jahan came to the throne. And after Shah Jahan came Aurangzeb. He became the Sultan of the Mughal Empire. Out of all these emperors, Emperor Akbar is the most famous because he was the most powerful emperor of the Mughal dynasty. He tried to bring the whole India under his control, but he had to face very tough struggle and resistance by Indian kings. Let's see how Akbar was opposed and who opposed Akbar. The first name is a very famous name, Maharana Pratap. Of course, he was from the Rajput dynasty, and this brave king of Mewar in Rajasthan fought till the very end against Akbar. He is famous for his courage, his self respect, and his sacrifice. Then comes another famous name, Chand Bibi. She was the queen of Ahmednagar in Maharashtra, and she fought with great bravery against the Mughals. And she fought so bravely that the Mughals could not win the fort of Ahmednagar till she was murdered by betrayal by her own people. Then Rani Durgavati. Rani Durgavati was the queen of Gondwana in Vidarbha region today, where Nagpur is today. Okay, she fought against the Mughal till she died, but she never surrendered to the Mughals. Now comes Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb became the king of Mughal Sultanate after capturing power from Shah Jahan. He spread the Mughal kingdom up to Kabul in Afghanistan today, Kashmir, Bengal, and Ahmednagar. And after that, he also added Assam, Bijapur, and Golconda, which is in Karnataka today. And he remained the king for a very long time. But the Mughals started becoming weak when Aurangzeb died. But like Akbar, Aurangzeb also had to face opposition from many kings. Let's see some of those dynasties who opposed the Mughal dynasty. The first one is the Ahom kingdom. You can see on the map of India, it was established in Assam. During the Mughal period, Ahom king Gadadhar Singh and his commander Lachit Barphukan successfully kept Assam free from the Mughals. Then comes the Sikh. The Sikh gathered under the able leadership of Guru Tegh Bahadur and Guru Gobind Singh, and they kept fighting Aurangzeb till their very end. Anandpur was the headquarters of Khalsa Dal. What is Khalsa Dal? Khalsa Dal was an army of young men, young Sikh men, founded by Guru Gobind Singh. Lastly, the Rajputs. Durga Das Rathod from Rajasthan, he fought hard against Aurangzeb. When Aurangzeb sent his son Akbar to crush him, Durgadas Rathod achieved the friendship of Akbar, who was the son of Aurangzeb at that time, and he continued fighting against Aurangzeb successfully. Then we come to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was the founder of Maratha Empire. He established the Swaraj for his people. He fought with great bravery and sharp wit against not only the Mughals but also the Adil Shahi, the Portuguese, the Siddhis, and even the East India Company of the British. Aurangzeb tried very hard to win Maratha region even after the death of Shivaji Maharaj, but he constantly failed till his own death. This is the end of the presentation. All the best to you all.